I think one of the things that mentoring is also important for you as your own self-development and learning. So just don't think about it, hey, I'm this body of knowledge and I'm giving it out to you. It's also that you develop as you kind of learn. So one of the things is we have come up with this executive eminence program, and this is for top CEOs across organizations. And the idea is that, CEO is already at the top of the food chain, right? What training do they need? So we came up with this very interesting program, which has 3 legs to it. And again, we expose the CEOs to all 3 legs, and then they choose one of them where they want to build their eminence around. But this is basically, this is not just another leadership course, another strategy course or something. So we said, what is it that CEOs at that level would want, right? So the 3 pillars of that is, one is leaders as teachers. If you ever want to learn something, just try to teach it, right? There is the Nobel laureate, physics Nobel laureate, right? I forget his name. He rightly said, right, if you want to really understand something, try to teach it to a 5-year-old. Right? The more complex the concept, the more you have to explain it, the better you become at understanding it. So leaders as teachers. We have another one called leaders as mentors, right? And the whole idea is that how can you become a good mentor, because you have got a lot of experience, and what does it take to be a good mentor? And the third one, because we are ISB, it's about leaders as applied researchers. And the idea is that, when you are grappling with a problem, right, and you kind of, because of your experience, you have seen the industry, you feel that, hey, here is a knot that I've not been able to solve. The idea is, how do you delve deeper and kind of come up with a new theory, a new thought leadership around what is it that's really driving that problem. So again, I think just to stress on the importance of mentorship. And again, this is a very interesting study that I found, so I thought I'd bring it up here. Keep it at the back of your mind as you interact. So we all have participated in meetings, right? Awesome. Okay, so what do you find from meetings, when especially you have mixed meetings, and maybe do you find a difference between interaction when you have a mixed gender meeting?
In men, there is a sense of brotherhood. They can bond over a cup of chai, cigarettes, or alcohol, or parties, or girls. But with women, I think it's in our DNA that we compete with other women. I think that is the main reason why we are not able to mentor other women. According to me, this is what I have noticed. She's more beautiful than me, she's more rich than me, she's more learned than me, she's more knowledgeable than me. I think that sense has to be inculcated in us by our parents when we are growing up. I mean, that is what my experience tells me. And I might be wrong, but... Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. No experience. So, no, I think, to add to your point, actually, when I go and talk to a lot of corporates, the good thing is now they have a lot of women's forums, right? But it's sad that some of the women said that, hey, it's looked down upon if I join the women's forum. And I'm like, hey, sisterhood is great, right? It's a mindset that needs to happen, and maybe it will take a generation. But I see the newer millennium generation at least are a lot more... they have no excuses for being with girls, or, being part of that, making time for spending time with girls, versus I think my generation, even though I was a little bit more evolved, it would still be like, the mom would have drilled, hey, family is a priority. So if you hang out with your girlfriends, why you had spending so much time. But I think things are changing. Hopefully, it becomes more of this acceptable things. But yes, there has been some of that as well at play. So this is very interesting, right? So I'll just share with you. So this is about meetings. And these are key data points, just something interesting I thought. Of course, men interrupt more than women overall, are almost 3 times as likely to interrupt other women than men. So next time you feel like you're being interrupted, just saying, maybe there are other guys you can pick up on. Women interrupt each other constantly, but almost never interrupt men. The more senior the speaker, the more they interrupt. So if you want to get to the top, there are no senior women that don't interrupt their male colleagues. So the roadway to the senior leadership roles is by interrupting your male colleagues and not just the women colleagues. No, but just interesting. So I just thought that I would share this. Women, it's surprising. This is a controlled study in a particular environment, but interesting insights that within that framework of the study, the women did not reach the top unless they started learning to interrupt. And I think it's all about making your voice visible and voice known, heard. So how many of you have faced this imposter syndrome? So I'll leave the slides for you. Have you seen the Dove ad? Which one of the Dove ad have you seen? All of them. Okay, great. So there's a beautiful ad. There are two doors. There's an average and a beautiful. Can you tell me what happens in there?
So do you choose the beautiful side and then go to the average side?
Right. Thank you. Right. So I think you're right. There were two doors who look beautiful to me and you, if I will see them, but they still choose to walk through the average door. And then we asked them why, right? And they said that, hey, I never thought of myself as beautiful, so I just thought I was average. And I think that's our mindset that we need to get over. You know, we generally say, hey, you're good at something, right? And I'm good at math, so the whole idea is you cannot fail, right? And in India, we especially inculcate that in our kid set, is that, hey, my intelligence is fixed. So because I've got good marks, you know, my intelligence level is at a certain level. And the whole thing she says is that actually it is not about you're having a fixed mindset, but having a growth mindset where you take each failure as a learning experience and then you build on that. So for her students, she would always give them a little bit more challenging questions and she would see two kinds of responses, right? Saying, this is out of syllabus, this is nonsense, we can't do it. Versus saying, okay, maybe let me try to attempt it and if I need help, I'll ask for it, right? Or I'll try to learn from it. So very important, especially in corporate also, one of the research studies we are doing at ISB is looking at how growth mindset leads to innovation. And we are trying to doing a study across companies to seeing is there a strong correlation, and especially in R&D groups and trying to understand. But very, very interesting concept, even for your children, it talks about how do you appreciate them, right? And if you say, hey, you are very smart, you're building a fixed mindset in them. That means that they'll always be afraid of failure. Versus saying, hey, great job in getting this good grades, right? And trying to appreciate what they really got. Versus saying, hey, it's because you are who you are, that's the reason you got the marks. So very, very important concept. I would highly encourage you to look at it. And again, the whole idea with the bias thing was that we wanted to, so we can then take an action to counteract it. I wanted to bring Ikigai. How many of you are familiar with Ikigai? So Ikigai is a Japanese concept. It is from a Japanese place where most of the guys reach actually 100 years of age. So they're trying to think, okay, there are these population that has got 100 years is like a sentinel is normal age. And they're trying to see what is the secret of their longevity. And these people are not like in India, I mean, you know, our concept is we retire at 60, we'll not be doing anything. And I mean, here these are 100 years old who are still very active in their lifestyle. And they found that this key was this concept of Ikigai, which is, you know, it's all about knowing about yourself, what is important to you, and it's individualized, right? It's based on your values and your beliefs. So your Ikigai will be very different from yours and from mine. But it is to find that purpose, right? And this is that question of what is your purpose in life and how do you find that? So very interesting concept is this thing where you say that, what do you love to do, right? But it's not just enough to find something because that's what drives your passion. But that's not enough. So then you have to look at what are you good at, right? And that's what determines your profession. So what do you love to do, which is your passion? What are you good at, which becomes your profession? And then another very important thing, we live in a real world, right? What is the world willing to pay you for, right? So it's not just enough that, okay, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I've trained in, but what is the world willing to pay you for? And that's the vocation. And then last but not the least is what the world needs. It's very important to tie all these together, and when you have that intersection, that's what Ikigai is about. And again, I think it's not that, hey, I'm old, now I can't develop or understand my own Ikigai. I think it's very important for each one of us, as we develop into a leadership role, is to really understand what drives, what motivates us, right? Because we still have the rest of our life to go through. We better be excited and passionate about every morning we come and, you know, what we are going to do in life. So that's something that I really feel passionate about, and I've been trying to practice it myself. So would encourage you guys to take a look. Again, this is just an interesting research study that we have done at ISB by Professor Soumya Sidhwani, who co-leads this initiative. And I'll just leave it out there for you guys to know what it is. And we talk about, right? These are women leaders, and they said sisterhood is very, very important. We talked a little bit about it. Others we have already covered. And I'll just leave it last with this slide, which is what is the Women's Excellence Initiative at ISB. So how many of you have been to ISB? Okay. So those of you who have not been, please do come. It's a phenomenal educational institution. We have a lot of workshops, we have a lot of events, and again, just come visit. I mean, part of it is this ecosystem, right? If you want to build more innovation, drive more of the economy, I think it's very important that we work together.